Last one. We're empty now. No more, no more, no mas. See you love, mommy. Hey, good time. Final cross. Exactly, final pack. What a coincidence. Puppet Pawn. We got Catty Corn. Super Polly. Yeah, no Azalea. I did not get Azalea. RIP. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I'm a failure, Ray. Where are you? I'm a failure, Rose. Well, technically I got in guy, but still, I'm a failure. I'm a failure. Okay, I'm just kidding.
One eternity later.
Hey, YouTube, we're finally back after extremely long amount of time for this to arrive for some reason. I was not fortunate enough to pull her, but we finally have her, Azalea, Sky Striker Ace Azalea. We'll talk about her much more in depth later. Why she's pretty much, I feel, a very, very underrated sort of game changer for Sky Striker. But enough further ado. Thank you for waiting. I know people have been waiting for Kevin to come up with a list for the longest time. But here it is now, so let's get into it right now. Of course, with the monsters, you gotta start off with 3 Ray. Remember, no Ray, no play. That's what I always say. I'm not a rapper. I always play 3 of her, no matter what. Right? Anyone tells you to play less than 3, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So that's 3 Ray, 1 Rosie O'Donnell. That's really all you need for linkage plays. And also, if you hard draw her, obviously you can now make a link to fairly easy, right? You can make Zeke or Dark or now Azalea, which is amazing. And then I'm playing the one of Amp, right? Amp for getting rid of problematic boss monsters. You can search it. And now with Azalea, it can even destroy it instead of just banish it for a turn or something like that. So more utility ways for you to get rid of this. Of course. And then finally, we gotta play 3 Ash. Ash Blossom is literally the maxi of TCG land. It hits Brand Fusion, hits basically almost every deck universally for the most part, right? Sometimes an Ash is good enough to stop a board. Like again, off the top of my head, Brand Fusion. And also, play Sky Striker in the Mirror or something. Also, Hilt's Welcome Loudproof, which is basically what my locals is all about. Back row cancer. So that's all the monsters, right? Fairly standard. Nothing super crazy. Maybe the Hamp, a little weird. Finally, Striker spells, right? Linkage. Always play 3. It is probably the best card in this deck outside of Ngog. Because it's a starter card, pushes for OTK, and also a very underrated thing it does do as well is dodging. For example, one play you might have is like Azalea, target, blah blah blah, like a back row or something, right? They chain, I don't know, Imperm under Azalea. You chain Linkage under Azalea. No longer on field, can't target, resolves, boom, bam, boom. Easy, amazing, great. Always play 3. Triple Little Anchor, of course. Amazing, broken card. It's probably one of the very few what I like to call guaranteed disruptions in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, there's no way for your opponent to cross out this unless you're playing like the mirror match or something like that. But it's always gonna at least bait and negate or force your opponent to honor it, you know? So, you gotta play 3 of it. Of course, now double Ngog. It's very weird to play double Ngog in TCG land because we were so used to it to 1. So, before I like, oh man, Master, right? End phase search Ngog like twice with the Linkage play. Now you can actually do it in real life. It's amazing. Double Area Zero. I have seen the light. I get it. I get it. It's very good initially during early game when you don't necessarily have too many striker cards already used, right? So it searches for engage. And now since you have 2, the search targets are way better. So you can search like Ngog, Widow Anchor, of course, Linkage, so you can have double starter or something like that, right? But that's the purpose of playing 2. Late game, obviously you draw, it's really bad, but playing 2 means that with Green Ray, you can send the other one in case so you don't have to draw it. There you go. Makes it slightly more consistent. And the other double, right? Double Afterburners. This is going second. Afterburners, kind of like Widow Anchor, will force out some things that your opponent has to honor. It either pops the monster, or if it doesn't, you pop, you pop the monster, or you bait out the negate. And also, if it resolves, then you hit another back row. So, you get double value. This one might be controversial. 1 multi-roll. I always feel one is good enough if you know what you're doing. Setting up all your back row just to get hit with evenly matched and stuff like that, I feel it's not worth it. And mostly because I can't find my second secret rare copy. I mean, what am I gonna be, a poor pleb and show up with an ultra rare? PU, Kevin. PU. So at the time of this recording, I can't find my second or third one, and this has been way too late to even hit the algorithm or whatever. So I decided better late than never. So you should probably play two of this. I can only find one, and also, yeah, it's very good because obviously makes your grind game a lot better. However, maybe it's just me, but my opponents always somehow have the board breaker, making this card essentially useless. But yeah, it's very good. Kind of like the other cards, it baits out things for your opponent. Like your opponent has to honor this card, or you can't respond to your spells like Woodwanker or Afterburners, and you just break the board. And remember, it says spells, not just Geist Wrecker. So like, you could multi-roll and then say you Lightning Storm them. Spoilers, and then they can't respond to it. So there's that. The other one, I was right. Shark Cannon, fairly standard. One Horny Drones. Yeah, is this ever gonna come back to 3? Probably not. Otherwise, that's the striker stuff. Here's the other spells, right? Double Desires. You might have noticed, Kevin, why are you not playing Prosperity anymore? Right? Okay. Why no Prosperity? Because I have come into the issue of somehow always managing to Prosperity into into an Engag, and obviously you can't get the value out of Engag. As you can see, I do have them. Remember from last time? I just don't use them now. Desires, yeah, Nate 10, right? Whatever, but it's worth it because if you banish your 10 cards, there's slightly more consistent stuff for your deck, right? To draw or top deck. And also, if you draw into Engag, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Just have the skill to not banish bad. Right? Also, double Lightning Storm. Right? Board breakers. Uh, double Cyclone. And the Harpies. My locals plays a lot of back row cancer, though that's why. This obviously could be interchanged with whatever your locals or regional or tournament is going to mostly compose of. Probably more handies if you're playing against like more combo. But I also still feel that Cyclone is probably, I won't say mandatory, but very highly recommended because you might lose the stupid back row like skill drain or something like that. Heartbeats maybe is a little bit overkill, but I believe it did win game 1 of the semifinals in Euros, right? By the lady who was playing the runic, no, some whatever, the plants, right? The plants, and they just basically harpy fed us through the entire back row. So maybe that's why. And also, you'll see another card. The one else, right? One Rhoda, one called by, terraforming. Fairly self-explanatory, right? Now we play double tactics talent and also double thrust, right? I managed to get a second copy of this. Do I feel I need a third? I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit overkill. Because thrust, for you Master Duel people who don't know, your opponent literally does anything during the turn, right? So that doesn't mean like tactics talent, which is main phase. Your opponent, like for example, shotgun something during standby or main phase, right? You can activate this, and then to control a monster, you search a spell. So that is pretty good. Or spell and trap, right? But mostly spell, obviously, for reasons like this. And then of course 3 imperm. Right? 3 imperm. Obviously your opponent can't thrust you with this, and also outside of Ash, it's like one of the very few things that would guarantee like a negate or something like that. There you go. So that's main deck, 40 cards. Only thing you might want to switch out is like the Cosmic Cyclones or Harpies and stuff like that for whatever your locals may be, right? So there you go. And then finally extra deck, which is the new exciting part. There we go. We're gonna play 3 Blu-ray, right? Searcher, 3 Blu-ray, fairly standard. Double Green Ray. When the other one comes out, Camellia, you can probably take out a Green Ray and then replace her with the new Camellia card. Because they basically serve the same purpose, except for turn 1 for Camellia. What do you send with Green Ray? Send Ray. You're playing the mirror, send Rose first. And then send extra spell in terms of priority, probably something for this deck, like your extra cards like Area Zero or like Afterburn or something like that, right? So that's what you would send. 3 red ray, alt art when master duel. And then finally the one ofs, right? The one ultimate rare kinda, you have to have one. If you don't have an ultimate rare kinda, don't play it. I'm kidding. But yeah, stops you from getting killed. One Zeke, banishing stuff, right? Kinda low-key combo with Rose. And finally, Azalea. Now you're probably wondering, Kevin, what's the big deal with this card? Why does it matter? Number one, it's generic if you haven't noticed. The camera pick it up, maybe too tiny. 2 light and or dark monsters. All these other girls are like 2 monster and like Skystriker Ace or something. So Azalea, number 1 is generic, right? That in itself is like amazing. Number 2 is that she basically fulfills the role of like your generic stuff like Nightmare Phoenix and Cerberus, but in 1 card. So you know what that means, right? It means you can now free up an extra slot in your extra deck. So before, for example, you'll have to play like Nightmare, Cerberus, or Phoenix. Now you can just play 1. There you go. That might mean you could play that other random extra deck card that you may or may not need, or have utility and stuff like that. Otherwise, you know, the bonus effect where like it kind of acts like the doll construct. That's nice, I guess. You know, it's a bonus. Definitely a bonus. Otherwise, you know, the most important part is that it helps you free up a space for your extra deck slot, right? So be prepared to see a lot more of her as like that one random card that people would just play for some reason. Like generic toolbox, there you go, which is Sky Striker in general, right? Generic toolbox, you have an out to everything. So yeah, that's why. And then finally, because you play 1 of her now, I used to say, oh, you could play 3 slots or whatever. Now you can play 4. Well, really 3. I mean, this one I feel is probably recommended. I do have a Celine. I just choose not to play because I'm not playing draw main deck or side deck. But there you go, Unicorn, right? Happy Masquerade, sure. So you can like Unicorn people on their turn. I don't know. And then finally Dark. There'll be 15 cards right there. So that's your extra deck. I will now post my side deck through dueling books so you can see the side patterns. But yeah, here we go. So wasn't that deck profile amazing? Hope it helps you figure out what you want to play, at least in TCG land. And then obviously we'll look forward to this Camellia when that eventually hits Master Duel. Will it make a difference? I don't know. Striker somehow hit top 16 or whatever in that through remote duel, but you know, that's remote dueling. I don't know. Of course, Easy Blight, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. Sorry, it took like way longer than it should have been released, right? But he just took forever, you know. Jeff Bezos didn't have Azaleas in stock, and so no prime shipping for that. So, oh well. But anyway, see you guys. Bye bye. This is my outro song for free YouTube monies. Give me some likes and sub for me, please.